Welcome back, everyone. A brand new week here today on the Cabral Concept. So glad you could join me here today, each and every Monday. And it is truly my favorite way to start the week with you. What I like to do on Mondays is tackle some type of personal-based problem we may be facing either in our relationships, our career goals, our body transformation goals, our wellness goals, or maybe even a spiritual-based, purpose-based goal. So my job, I feel, is to be able to read as much as I can, learn as much as I can, use it in my own life, and then use what I've experienced, what I've seen to work, and share that with as many people as possible. I first started to do this in the nutrition and exercise-based realm. Then I finally figured out how to heal my body, of course, through many great mentors and study. Then I was able to put together certain systems of integrative health that we've now used with well over 250,000 people all around the world. And, you know, it's been a blessing. I'm extremely grateful for what I get to do. And my main job now is to teach the future generations of health coaches and natural health-based practitioners who want to share this information with others too. But such a big part of that is the mind, and it's the mindset. Because as I teach all of these practitioners inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, and we have now well over 5,000, I believe, it's the understanding that everyone can and will get well. They can, and they will, if they stick with the programs and protocols and they make the necessary adjustments. And I did share with you how everyone can get well on episode 2279. So do feel free to check out that show if you'd like later. Now, the only people who we've seen not get well or overcome any type of wellness, weight, or aging-related issue are those people that give up for a particular reason or another. And oftentimes, I believe it is all surrounding mindset, because the most stubborn people in the world, sometimes they're difficult to get along with, and they're difficult to even work with maybe as clients, but they get knocked down and they get back up, right? You know, they're just willing to just say, okay, this one didn't work. Well, that time didn't work. All right, let's move on to the next one. And it's that resilience that enables you to eventually figure it out. Sometimes the timeline isn't necessarily stated, right? We know what our goal is, we know what our objectives are, but we don't always know the timeline. And the major overarching theme is that each one of us are going to encounter challenges along the way. So whatever your goal is, to have the best relationship possible, to have the best health possible, the best healthy body for you possible, same with spirituality, career, finances, whatever it might be, like whatever your goals and objectives are. Okay, when you set your goal, you set your objective, you try to create that bright future that you want to move towards. So we teach this in IHP Mastery. You're moving towards the bright future and away from the dark place that you don't want to be. Well, along that way, there's going to be highs and lows. And during those lows, it is our opportunity to figure out how to overcome, yet again, one more issue, one more problem, one more challenge in our life. And the way that you're typically going to be able to do this the fastest way possible. So like if you really want to get well, and of course that's what my forte is, that's what we work in, right? You really want to get well. And again, you can insert relationship, find the right person, fix your relationship, improve your body, work on your spirituality. You need to figure out every time you encounter a problem, what that bottleneck is. Meaning like, why are you now at a standstill? So think of a bottleneck as, you can have it go up or you can have it go down like a funnel. Like it's stuck, right? It's filled, it's clogged, and it won't work. What's the bottleneck? What's the reason that things aren't flowing like water again in your life, right? Because remember, for at least certain periods of time, you move through life with ease, and then all of a sudden it's like you're trudging through quicksand. Well, that's the bottleneck. You're stuck. Can't really move forward. Don't want to go back. So you're in this weird place of not being overly excited about your life. It's not maybe the worst, but you certainly know it could be better. All right, in these circumstances, I really feel that it's your goal to then ask yourself, what's the problem here? Like literally, what is the problem? So let's say you are going through a wellness-based program and you're trying to work on your digestion, all right? Because your digestion, of course, can lead to bloating and gas, but it can also lead to allergies and migraines and fatigue and skin rashes and all sorts of autoimmune issues, right? Because your gut is the epicenter, essentially, of where nutrients come in. They're processed, they're transformed, they're moved through to the bloodstream, to the body where it needs it. Well, a lot can go wrong in that process, including increasing inflammation, which can then affect, obviously, any issue with the body. So, let's say you were doing well for a while, you're on the CBO protocol, then you're on month 3 and you're on, like, let's say week 9, and all of a sudden you start to regress and you start to get bloating again and gas. You're like, what's going on here? And again, let's also move to a different topic. Maybe you're doing well for a while in your career, and then all of a sudden you've just really found yourself stagnant. You're doing the same work you've always been doing. You're not finding a lot of pleasure in it. You're not necessarily making more income. You're not necessarily helping more people. It's just not what you want to be doing, right? You're stuck, right? That's the bottleneck. Another one might be your goal is to lose 52 and a half pounds, right? Okay, 52 and a half pounds, and you just lost 37 and a half. Okay, well, you've got some weight to go, right? You've got about 15 pounds to go. So what do? Why isn't it coming off? Why have you plateaued? And again, I could go on, right? Okay, your relationship was pretty good, and now it seems to be like you're arguing more often. You're not on the same page. You're not connecting in the same way. Why is this happening? All right, any of these instances, my first thing that I say to people is this. You need to ask yourself this one question. It's the hardest question of all. Am I the problem? So whenever you hit this quagmire, this stalemate, this being stuck in life where you're in a bottleneck of not moving forward, you have to ask yourself, what's the problem? Okay, you state the problem. We just went through it, right? Weight plateau, digestive issues are back, relationships not in the best spot, stagnant in your career. Okay, you've stated the problem. Now you have to ask yourself, am I the problem? Your first inclination will be not to ask that question. That's for sure. But when you can ask that question, believe me, your maturity level has gone to that next level just by asking it, and honestly. And I know we're all adults, so we're all mature. I get it. I understand. But maturity in terms of self-awareness, in terms of self-development, and in terms of self-improvement. If you can ask yourself, because I don't know a whole lot of people who can, I really don't. And I think that's a shame. And I can't necessarily say it's adults' fault because we weren't taught it as children. I mean, the vast majority of people. So if you're doing it as an adult, either your parents taught you this as a child, which is amazing, or someone else did. That's always possible. Or you learned it as an adult. But it's very rare. It's very, very rare. Because by asking yourself, am I the problem? You then are taking responsibility. You've already taken responsibility by simply stating, am I the problem? So then the next step is saying, well, I don't think so, because that's what's going to come naturally, right? Because if you really thought it was you, you wouldn't have done it, okay? But now we take a step back. We're gentle with ourselves, as I always like to say. We're not placing blame on ourselves. We're not judging ourselves. We simply say, am I the problem? And let's break that down. So we would say, all right, I'm not losing weight. I've got 15 more pounds to go. I was losing weight. I'm doing everything right? I'm following the nutrition plan. I'm getting my steps in. I'm exercising. And I'm not losing weight. It must be the plan's fault. Okay, well, let's look at that. So it's the plan's fault. Your personal trainer, your nutritionist, your health coach, your naturopath, whoever gave you this plan, all right? And it worked. You lost 37 and a half pounds, but you still have 15 to go. So is it the plan that stopped working, or is it something that could be on you? And again, I'm not blaming you. This is not about blame. Remember, it's all about you. The goal is something that you've chosen for you. You came and you said to the world, to yourself, I want to lose 52 and a half pounds. I don't know how I came up with that number, but it popped in my head. So we're going to continue to roll with it. So you chose that. So you should ask yourself the hard questions. And if possible, believe it or not, you want the problem to be you. I know this sounds crazy, but here's why. If the problem is you, it's so easy to fix. I want to repeat that. If the problem is you in any given situation, it's easy to fix. And I'll share why in just a moment. It's really difficult to fix if it's another human being. So if you're in a relationship and you are the one willing to take responsibility, you're the one willing to do the work, you're the one doing all these things, and then there's something on the other person. Well, if it's on them, they then need to do the work. Some people are up for it, some people aren't. That's just the way that it is, right? And in your career, are you the one who's hitting the stagnation? For weight loss, are you the one who basically hit that stalemate, become stagnant, and same with your wellness? Well, let's step back. We'll say this. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't the problem. But what is it that you could personally do in order to overcome this particular situation? So, for example, the nutrition plan and the exercise plan so-called stop working. Okay, maybe. Or maybe it was just this 1 week. Let's give it another week. Still plateaued? Okay. Let's then contact the health coach, naturopath, personal trainer, nutritionist, whoever gave you the program and say, listen, I plateaued. I'm willing to take responsibility. What can I do now to take this to the next level? Because you're not placing blame on anybody. The blame is going to get you nowhere, right? Even if you do throw the blame somewhere else, in the end, you lose. So we don't want that, right? We want you to still get the help that you deserve and that you need. So then you go back to your coach, nutritionist, naturopath, etc., and they say, tell me what you're doing. And they go through it. They're like, here's what you go through it. Here's what I'm eating. This is my exercise. They say, okay, understood. This happens to many people. I have you on a program right now where you're walking daily and you're doing 2 to 3 bodyweight workouts per week. And your nutrition's pretty good with 1 flex meal per week. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to take your exercise up a notch. I'm only going to add 30 more minutes a week. That's it. Are you able to do that? You're taking personal responsibility, remember? So you're saying, yeah, I don't really want to add another 30 minutes, but I'm in. I'm in because I want that extra 15 pounds. Okay. So now what that personal trainer, nutritionist, naturopath, et cetera, is going to do is they are going to say, all right, your workouts were Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now they're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We only added 1 day. It's just 30 minutes before you head off to work, or maybe 30 minutes at lunch, or maybe 30 minutes after work. Your choice, right? Just make it work. And instead of doing the body weight, we're going to add now some band resistance. That's it. We're just going to get some bands. Cost you maybe $25. That's it. Now I'm going to give you new workouts with bands. Okay, here's the thing. We're not going to change your nutrition. You're doing great. Keep on keeping on with your nutrition. I just want you to add these bands in for a little extra resistance, 1 more day a week. So now we don't have more days off than not. Now we're doing more days than not. Okay, you do that. All of a sudden, guess what? Push past that plateau. Within 2 weeks, you're down another 3 pounds. And you continue now on that path. So what did you do? Well, yeah, kind of the plan stopped working for you. But you know what? That's life. They do, right? Like everybody plateaus with the plan because the plans are not infinite. So what you do is you get the next step to that plan, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. All right, your coach just gave you the new plan and it started to work for you. So were you the problem or were you not? Maybe. It honestly doesn't matter. Assume you're the problem. Ask, what can you do? Remember, this only works for people who want the most out of life, who are willing to say, things aren't always easy, but I can make it work. I will make it work. I won't always know how, but I will ask the right questions and I will implement what I need to do in order to achieve that which I desire. And if you have very little desires, then you have to do very little work. If you have big desires, sometimes you got to do big work. Right? And I just want people to know that that's okay. Like that is literally okay. So one of my big desires, one of my big goals in life is making sure that my 2 daughters are happy, that they're healthy, that they feel loved, that they feel cared for. So that means when they are off the wall bananas, even at night, let's say like after dinner, the time between dinner and bed when all kids are like, it's just second wind time, third wind, fourth wind, whatever you want to say. It's just taking that moment, and I'm not perfect, believe me, and saying, okay, how can I channel this into healthier energy, not inside of our house? Maybe we'll go for a walk. The other night, we took our girls out. It was a nice night, and they went literally and flew a kite. I haven't flown a kite in ever almost. I mean, maybe I did when I was like 8 years old. I was like, let's go do it. Let's get that out. We walked back, relaxed the bodies, got into bed, right? Or when they are, it's just, not listening, doing whatever, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to do my best to say, they're kids. Literally, they're children. You were like this one day. All kids are like this. they're 7 years old, they're 9 years old. Take a deep breath, do your best, be firm, but there's no need to go, bananas on them either. So it's just simply saying, yeah, my kids are the one doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm relaxed. They're making me not relaxed. They're making me stressed because they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing and they need to get their sleep. Now they're up. They're going to be up. They're going to be full of energy. They're not going to be able to fall asleep. So it's like, yeah, I'm not the problem in that situation, but this is my problem. It's part of my life, and I have a desire to not necessarily yell at them all the time, even though I could. I feel like I could be justified with doing that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to rationalize with them as best I can. I'm going to try to see if I can get that energy out in some other way, right? And so I'm just looking at it from that perspective. And you can take this perspective with any goal in your life. And so the first thing that you have to always do is say, what is the problem? Right? What is the problem? Going back to that person with digestive issues, they were doing so great. They were so close to the finish line. What was the problem? Well, we find that most of the time, their people are doing so well by the time they get to that last month of the CBO, month 3, that they start adding in just a whole lot of other food-based variables because they feel like they're already better, which they're almost there. They are, but they added too many things in too fast. So it's literally saying, are you the problem? Well, the person doesn't know what the problem is, but it's then reaching out and asking. Remember, you're not going to have all the answers. So you either have to read a book, listen to a podcast, work with a coach, whether it's a relationship coach, a personal trainer for fitness, a nutritionist for nutrition, a health coach or an integrative health practitioner to run at-home labs, whatever it might be. But if you don't have the answers and you can't see the way out, how are we going to get to your goal? So sometimes it's just kind of like taking a deep breath, right? Swallowing a little bit of that ego that we all have and just saying, I'm not going to make it to where I want to go unless I get a little bit of help. And I have to be willing to say, am I the problem? And if I'm not fully the problem, how can I at least take responsibility to do my part to get to my goal or our shared goal that much faster? Now, it's definitely work up front, but if you do this, and it can be challenging sometimes, but if you do this, you will have an infinitely happier life because you'll be someone who stops blaming others, which means automatically they take more responsibility, which means automatically their enlightenment, their maturity, right, their self-development has just gone up so much higher, and they see the world for really what it is. A beautiful place, a place where you're able to manifest that which you desire, but it takes work. It takes overcoming challenges. And honestly, that's what it ends up being. That's what life ends up being, a journey. And really a opening of self-development, a journey to finding yourself, a journey to becoming better. And it only starts with taking that responsibility. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. If this show was helpful, do feel free to share it with anybody else you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing week.